Oh, hello, everybody. So, hello. I think I broke the stream. So, I accidentally quit the stream earlier on, and I didn't mean to. So there's that. So that happened. So so those poor people are sitting there watching a stream. You know, starting soon screen. So hopefully they'll get the point and refresh anytime soon. So, hello YouTube, and hello some familiar faces as well. So good to see you all again, and hopefully everyone's doing really well. So we're here with the Horizon-y things again. So which is our second developer stream even. So that's a good thing. So we've been requested, we come back, which is even better. And we're back with even more prizes again today. So we've got some more Horizons to give away and some vouchers. So yeah, so you never know. Someone might be the lucky winner. Hopefully I'm coming across okay and I haven't done something silly my end so that it's not coming through okay. So hello 89, hello Tro, hello Bays, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing wonderfully well at the moment. So I'm assuming that everyone can hear me and everything is good, loud and clear. Just give me a thumbs up if it's all okay, or am I talking to myself? So I just want to make sure that, that everything is all good. So yeah, so we're just playing Horizon in the background. It's just something I put together earlier on just before the stream, just to kind of some highlights, a little bit of music. So I do hope that those people come back, because I did break it and there was a lot of people queued up. So so that was my mistake. So there you go. I'm not a streamer, so you know, it is all good. So I do want to ask you fine people, out of the people that are here right now, and hopefully the others will join us again soon, who owns a copy of Horizon already? Hands up. Let's see those show of hands. And it would be very nice to see, just so I know what to do today. Hey Expedosia, how you doing? Good to see everyone here today. Apologies if you were part of the stream, then we've had to obviously change it. So, you know, it is what it is. So a small little error from me there, so I do apologize to those that are just tuning in. So, hello Mr. Linden. Wonderful of you to join me again today. So, so today I thought we'll take a deep journey into some, looking at all the comments that we had from last stream. There seems to be a common theme that people love, kind of ambient stuff and things like that. So today we're going to take a deep dive into more ambient exploration using our plugin. So no idea yet what to expect, but this is the joy of creating music or creating sound in general. So I think we'll have an exploration session. So you know, for those that own Horizon already, can obviously follow along. And those that don't, then I'm already disappointed in you. Then you get to figure out, you know, get to see whether it's your cup of tea or not. You know. Hello Doc, how you doing? So, as far as I know, the stream has a little bit of stream delay. So if you're asking a question and I can't reply, if it's something technical, Lyndon is here to answer any questions that you may have in real time in chat, and I will obviously get to any questions that are here straight away. So you know, so it's not a problem at all. So I do apologize for the stream delay, but it's not something I can fix anytime soon. So you have brought a copy. Well done, Bays. Then you know, I appreciate you so much. So and how are you enjoying Horizon? Hopefully you're enjoying it greatly with a bit of luck. Expo, I feel you know, look, the world at the moment, look, it's a great time to be a musician. There's 59,000 plugins that you can go towards, but you know, this is why these streams are very important, so that we can listen to what's actually going on, whether it's your flavor or not, you know. So ignore the rest, get the best. Yeah, that should be our tagline, I think. I like it. That's really cool. Just for those that are joining now, apologies if you were part of the older stream. I made a bit of an error, and that's my mistake. So welcome back if you already came earlier on. I actually accidentally ended the stream, and I didn't mean to. So there's that. So user error here. You got the play on word with the Zen. Yes, indeed. Linda, that's full on facts. I could also use that one as well. So let's be honest. There's too many buttons. That's the issue with today's technology. What we need to do, Lyndon, is design a synth with one button. That's it, just one. And it just does everything for you. Oh, it's complicated stuff, this. It is. But look, it's this great platform. We're here and we can all enjoy something together. So I think that's the main thing. So as I said before, today we're going to kind of take a deep dive in some more ambient stuff, because I think that's generally what a lot of people like from our community. So I think we'll kind of explore this avenue a little bit more and see what we can make with something just different, something that's not necessarily musical sounding, how we can convert that into something music, as well as just generally show what Horizon can do and whether you like the sound of it or not. For those that are looking to potentially buy it or to demo it or sitting on the fence about it, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Likewise, Lyndon is the other co-developer of this product, of Horizon, who's in the chat right now. So he will be also guiding everybody as well. So yeah, we're here just to have a good time, see what's happening. There's also some prizes to be won later on. So we do have a copy of a Horizon that we're going to give away, as well as another $100 voucher. So you can get it on software of your choice via the Traxon store. So stay tuned for that one a bit later on. So, hello Pete. And hello Pulse Salvation. I'm all good, thank you very much for asking. Pete, sorry about that. That's an old issue, Pete. So it's actually already been fixed, Pete. So have you got the demo of it by any chance, or have you got the full version? Anyway, we can talk about that later, but yeah. So, but that's been fixed. But the best thing for you to do, Pete, is just put a ticket into support, and I'll probably be the one to pick it up to help you. So it's not a problem. Okay, Pete, yeah, just put a ticket into support@traction.com, and I'll be there to help you and to guide you through it, okay? Did you? Okay, well, then I'll get to it a bit later then. Not an issue. So it just obviously hasn't been filtered down to me. So anyway, Pete, we'll get you sorted out, all right? Not an issue. Did you actually? Okay, well, I haven't got it yet, so maybe the other guys have dealt with it. So yeah, no worries. Okay. So let's first of all stop this music in the background. So for those that don't know what Horizon is, Horizon is a synth that caters for all genres of music, realistically. Do we specialize in one thing? No, not necessarily. But what we do is we cater a large round of sounds that offers otherworldly sounds, I'd say. You know, very cinematic, very dreamy, atmospheric, that sort of thing, as well as your current stuff like, you know, drum and bass and EDM, IDM, anything you want is kind of under the hood. And the way we kind of wanted to design Horizon was, if you can think of a sound, then you could probably build it, you know, in one way or another. So, you know, that's kind of what Horizon's all about. And so, so today we're going to just do just that, really. So just go through, but while we're going through, as say, if you find any questions that you want to ask or anything like that, feel free to do that. So, you know, it's not too much of a problem. Right. So while Lyndon deals with that, but yeah, honestly, Pete, don't worry too much about in here. Let's keep this. Oh, I'm all tangled up. I'm sorry, my wires are all caught up in the chair. So look at this. I'm going all crazy today. Right, there we go. Okay, so yeah, Pete, we'll sort that out over support, so we keep this stream kind of clear for now. You know. Pulse, no, it doesn't. No, we got rid of our convolution reverb because it wasn't really CPU effective. So we've gone synthetic reverb. So you know, so it's not a problem at all. Just catching up on chat here. Yeah, Pete, it's all good, brother. We got you. Yeah, I'll fix that in 5 minutes. Just send me, just send another support ticket. For some reason, I didn't receive it, so send it across. We'll fix it for you. Yeah, I can sort it out, Lyndon. Don't worry, no problem. Yeah, so with all the things that we got going on, Pulse, you know, we didn't think that using convolution reverb was such a good idea, especially because of the things that we got in the works in the background currently. Some of which I can't talk about, but some of it I can, and that's because obviously this is our entry-level CPU, our entry-level synth right now, and now we're going to sort of grow on that and expand. You know, so we've got lots of things coming towards it. You know, and I don't want to say too much, and I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so let's just say, and we'll keep it open, that there's lots of new effects coming, there's lots of new gadgets and toys coming, there's lots of new all sorts of things coming, including a very popular device that lots of people have been asking for is also coming. So read into that as you may, but you know, it is what it is. So, you know, expect this synth to kind of grow leaps and bounds. And of course, most importantly, which we're working on now, and which I'm working on now, is we're doing expansions, which is excellent. Expo's, yes, Expo, indeed, it is. So, you know, it's, at the end of the day, this is a power synth. You've got to understand that obviously there are 5,000 other synths on the market, but the bigger your synth is, the more straining it is to kind of put it all together, you know. And so our initial design was we wanted to have people create their own things on the fly with necessarily random sounds, if you like, or something that is not, that obviously comes with the Horizon that you can quickly dial up, play with and go, or simply just use presets and kind of hit it from the ground up straight away. And there's a lot of sound design and stuff that you can do in Horizon that you can't do otherwhere else. And likewise, we've still got legs to grow. So it's something that we're going to keep on working on. But first, you've always got to have the base level there and working. And then upwards, you go upwards and onwards from there. So, you know, so hello, Orbital. How you doing? And Chishikia, Aloe Vera. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. But greetings. And great track, by the way. I do appreciate you so much. So, you know. So thanks for doing that. I didn't understand it, but oh, that's it, Troy, right? If I remember rightly. See, I remember these things. So, you know? So, right, I've got to make sure, guys, today I don't get myself tangled up. I've got this headphone lead, and my normal lead is somehow broken, and so I'm using this extension, and it keeps on getting caught onto my chair. So, if things go wrong, then that's what it is, you know? So, you know. Expo, I agree fully, and you know what? It's funny you should mention that. And I don't. We'll get into sound design in a minute, but um, I am pretty much exactly the same thing. Normally, and this is on record, and I've got no beef about saying this, but for me, it's because I'm originally a sound designer and a producer. Then you have always got the sound in your head to begin with, and no matter what synth it is, I'll always go to the init preset first. That's the most used preset that I'll ever use. And then I'll build what I want rather than what the synth or the preset manufacturer has given me. And most of the time, and I don't mean any disrespect to any other synth, but this is my own personal opinion, but mostly I find with other synths that it's a lot of just fillers in there just for the sake of, you know, numbers, right? And so you'll go through 30 different presets that sound terrible and not really usable before you get to a good one. And to me, that's not cost effective when I know what I want already. And so, but the difference here with the Horizon is that because it's come from a musician who produces music day in and day out, it's like I already kind of know ahead of time what people could roughly kind of live with and go with, you know? So, and I think that kind of helps a little bit, you know, just in the way that the sounds are created or put together or whatever. So I think it's a kind of a little heads up. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But, you know, at the end of the day, the presets are there for a good head start so you can understand what the synth does and what it all does and how it all gets together well, you know? So, you know, you can use that at your own will at the end. My issue with the menu presets is that there's more marketing tools to show the capabilities of the synth rather than something that could be used in your. This is exactly it, Whistledom. That's exactly what I was saying. You know, it's like they've got two LFOs and a modulator or something like that, and what they do is they create presets to show off an LFO and a modulator all going crazy together. And yeah, sure, sonically it's like, oh, okay, that's fun, but okay, good luck trying to use that in a track, you know, and you end up with 30,000 of these things, and it doesn't make sense. And so our design philosophy, that we discussed this, you know, at length, you know, in the fact that we wanted to offer someone quality rather than quantity, you know, so I'd much rather have 400 great presets that you can just dial up and use than to have 800 presets where only 300 of those are usable. Because it just creates frustration in producers when they're skipping through sounds and it's like, well, this isn't working, you know what I mean? So, and also, of course, it's very subjective, all this synth stuff, you know, because, you know, I could love a sound and you could not like it, but it's, you know, there's still a good sound and a not a good sound, you know, whether that good sound is good for you right now or whether it can be parked and in your mind for later on, that's a different matter. But, you know, there's still bad sounds out there and a lot of, let's say, common synths, you know, that are just useless. But, you know, most people kind of either create their own or they buy expansion packs, and that's just the way life is at the moment, unfortunately. So, you know, but we're here now to kind of fill this void of, you know, Horizon is a very deep synth if you want it to be, and it won't bite you if you try it, you know, in terms of, you know, you don't need to be afraid of what all the controls do. And once you use it a few times, you'll understand it that, okay, you know what, it's actually really simple. And hopefully today you'll understand that precisely. And so that you don't need to be scared of something that, you know, it's got many buttons and it does many modulars and things like this, you know. I mean, the way I see it is like, you know, Lyndon is, you know, most of the brains of this operation. So he's like the monk, you know, he's got all the full knowledge of everything, and I'm the monkey who just hits buttons and makes funny noises and get excited when it makes something cool, you know. So that's pretty much how this is kind of worked out. And so you know, and together we've kind of created this thing which is our vision, and we wanted people to enjoy it and to encourage people to just play with new sounds, and, you know, don't be afraid of creating something awesome yourself, you know. So, and we're going to do just that today. So, you know, I've got no idea. I don't have an agenda. It was literally, let's stream and let's communicate with you wonderful people and just see what we can do. So, and, you know, just to show you around, and I'll create a sound on the fly and explain things as I go along, why I'm doing it and things like that, so you'll understand. And I'll take it a little bit slow so that people can, you know, if you do have Horizon, you can follow along, or something like that. So, you know, and we'll kind of see. Expo, yeah, that's all good. You know, I mean, as I said, some people have got really great knowledge of synths, right? And you'd think I have by now, right? But I'm quite odd in the way I work, and that's I know this is going to sound very counterproductive, but as a composer, producer, and all this type of stuff, right? My job is not to know that information. You know what I mean? It's like all I want to do is know what sound it makes, you know. And so, and I have two choices: I like it, I don't like it, right? There is no in between with music, right? You can't ever say, oh, that's it's okay. You know what I mean, right? And so it's kind of like that. And so I purposely don't know much about anything, and so so it's kind of fun, and I like it. So, you know, I like it like that. Yeah, exactly that. And as I say, there's some people that know everything, and they know exactly what everything is before it's even, you know, before they've even got it, and that's great. You know, that's a quality that I like. So, right, okay, so we're going to start with an init preset. So, so just a blank canvas. We got nothing here but our trusty. There's our trusty saw again. So hopefully you guys can hear that. So, yeah, we're going to create, I don't know, let's create something weird and wonderful, shall we? Just we'll kind of throw something together, maybe something kind of ambient, and then we'll put like a maybe playable texture in there as well. And we'll utilize some loop players today, some sampler engines, and maybe some of the synths as well, and just make it up as we go along, you know. So thank you very much, Odo. Do appreciate you. Thank you. So, you know, we will just fiddle, you know. Something industrial, did they? Oh, I missed that. Apologies if I missed that. So, you know. Oh, yeah. Posted up at the top, yeah. Can you make some industrial sounds for us tonight? Yeah, sure. Have you got kind of any reference when you say industrial? It's quite a big palette, industrial. Odo, yeah, there is indeed giveaways, yes. That would be a bit later on, so, you know, a chance to win. To win the prize, you need to go and buy a copy of Horizon on every single store that is available. Come back, show me your receipts, and you can win a Horizon. That's what you got to do. Okay, so, you know. You know, and then whoever has the golden ticket can win it. No, I'm just kidding. So, something industrial, okay. I want some metals then, some kind of metallic, ambient, warehousey kind of thing, right? Something maybe industrial horror kind of thing, right? Maybe? Who created that? You know, posted. So, yeah, see, I don't know that without listening to it. Of course, I can't listen to that on stream because it's copyright material. So, you know, I'll tell you what I will do, though, is because just before I begin this, I want to say this now before I forget, is I want to try and do a live stream every Wednesday, if I can. Same time, same place, to kind of kick this thing off. And what you've just said there, Pulse, would be awesome to do. But obviously I need to understand what it is I'm doing first. And so I can't listen to that sort of stuff live on stream for obvious reasons. So it would be great after the stream is finished to link in the comment section below, and I can queue that up for next week. And so, you know, and then we can do things like that. I think that's probably more sensible, you know. So Tro, yes, it is. You know, I don't know. We're just gonna fiddle. So the first thing I want to do is just go to our samplers, okay? Hip hop, absolutely, it would. Odo, yes, and I've already used it in a lot of trap and hip hop records as well. So yes, 100%. It can do all the things that you need it to do. So there you go. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is bring up a sampler. I'm going to go with, let's look for some drone stuff to start off with. So I'm just going to load up a random, no, I don't want that because I want this one. Okay, that's pretty right off the bat, you know? So when we can put some kind of industrial vibe to this, you know, so I mean, I'll be making a few presets today, so it's fine, but let's start off with, let's just see what else we've got. I mean, these are all just drone sounds right now, so they're not really musical in that sense. Hopefully you guys can hear this as well. I'm trying to keep an eye on my volume levels as well. Unbarred gaze, thank you. You're doing my work for me. Do you want to come this side? Oh, you gotta love it, you know. You know, I still like that first one I loaded up, but I'm just showing you a few of these drones. So, oh, that's scary. That's the stuff the horrors are made of, right? So I like that. Let's see something else. It's a bit too in your face, that one. Let's go for another one. Kind of like that one too. This is called Complete Mess. Apt name, I think. So, right. Oh, that's a dark one, that is. Blade Runner vibes, yes. Hey, look, we've already got the sound from Blade Runner already. You know, I'll show you that a bit later, alright? We've actually got the sound. I'm a massive Blade Runner fan. Don't get me started. You know, really, really, really like them. Oh, I like this one. Oh, that gets nasty. So that could be used to great effect. I like that. So I'm just going to pick one then. So I think I'll use, I mean, the thing is with drones, they're all kind of deep and dark and mysterious, but the way you then mangle it up is a different story. So I think this is the first one. No, not that one. This one. Yeah, I'm going to use this one to start with because I like that little ping pong metallic thing. That could kind of work nicely. So, okay, so we have our sampler. You can essentially just load it in. We've got 4 different samplers available. So you can simply just go to sampler 1, load up what you want, and just demo it. And then from there, you can then modify the sound. So one thing I always do, let me move the mic over a little bit. That's it. So is with the thing is with drones is, as everybody knows, that the way they're created is not necessarily a musical note, because it's an assortment from all sorts of different Foley sounds and this, that, and the other. So it doesn't really have a pitch. So if you play it low down, that's the purpose of it. But if you play it really high up, it sounds nasty. In this case, that sounded really good, but you get what I mean. Most of the time, it's just obviously higher pitched, and it's not as ambient anymore. So, and today we're creating ambience. So, first thing I want to do is always attack the gain envelope and just add lots of release to the sound, because you want that to carry on after the fact. So, just to test that. So yeah, it's nice, but a little bit more, I do believe, which should be nice. So yeah, that's fine for that one. Now what we have is a few additional options. So sometimes if you pitch a sound down to even lower timbre, then it can give you a better drone. So I'm just going to try that right now. So you see that's much, much darker now, but it keeps that element of suspense about it, you know, which I kind of like. So in fact, yeah, no, I don't know. So I like -12 as well. You know, I'm going to keep it there. At the moment, we don't have any effects at all plugged in, which we'll go through those a little bit later, you know. So we'll kind of do that as things kind of unfold a little bit. But today we're going to kind of use the mod stuff right here and go through some modulating things, so on and so forth, to kind of build up things. So let's start with that next. So what we're going to do is we're not going to treat this sound yet, because we don't know yet what we want to do. Now that one's what I like to call a sub drones, because we've obviously put it right the way down. So what I will do now is add another sample. This time I'm going to solo this one, and we'll have another drone of some kind, and we'll work the two together. So, you know, ooh, now that is nice. Now that might just work with it straight away. But let's just highlight a few more, you know. See, now you're talking my language, Pure Salvation. So, you know, it's all my stuff. Just add in Jean-Michel there, and you've got me nailed. Stephen Smith, hi, how you doing? A Windows machine. So yeah, right, let's see what else we got. So we're looking for something to complement the lower sub thing a little bit. So, you know, okay, now this is great. Like that slightly higher pitched version, which would be great. So let's use this, and then we can modulate this a little bit. So at the moment, it's not going to sound too amazing together, but if we just put the release up on that one a little bit, let that just carry itself on. And then with the other drone together at the moment, so we got that one whirling forwards, but the thing is it comes in too early. So what I want to do is just give a lot of decay on that. Sorry, attack, not decay. So it just comes in a little bit later and gets out the way of the first transient of the deeper sub. So, and then I'm gonna modulate the pitch a little bit on this one, as well as other various bits and pieces. So I think to kind of give it that, you know, movable kind of vibe thing, right? And so we'll just do that quickly. So I'm going to do that with the unison, actually. Let's first of all just solo this. I mean, I don't know how much you heard there, but just by moving the detune and adding 4 steps of unison. So if I do it quite harshly, it adds a subtle movement. So that's our first step that I'd like to do. So this right here is set to an LFO. Now these are our mods. So if I want to move something, anything that here with these boxes or round little selector things, you can simply just drag your mod to wherever it is that you want to drag it to. So in this case, I'm going to set it to LFO1 in the unison. So that means that this depth knob will control the detune amount based on the variable that I put in here. So pure salvation, absolutely. We've got all that lot to come later on. So I'm with you, buddy. Definitely. We're on the same page. I like that. So yeah, so what I'm going to do here is put this to maximum. And because I want the detune to just kind of just do a simple backwards and forwards movement, I don't need anything more than that. So I'm just going to click a point in here and then drag this one down to create just a kind of a small triangle. And then detune this by, I don't know, let's say max. So this will detune. So obviously you got minimum, maximum. And then in here I can set the speed and the smooth you know, curves and things like that. So let's aim for something relatively mid-speed. I don't want anything too fast. And then when we now play that sound, so you can hear it go woo, like this. It's a subtle, but the thing is like good sound design always starts with subtle. And if you go too fast too soon, you end up with some over-modulated mess. Always think subtle and then build upon something. So just a little handy top tip for you there. So, because if you go too fast, then you hear it pulsing, which we don't want to do. We want to have everything needs to be subtle at this point. And the other thing I want to do is, because we've got the lower drone underneath here on sampler 1, on this one, I want to take off that low end because I don't need it. We've got all that coming from the other side. So we're going to use the EQ on the channel here. Again, we're on sampler 2 on this weird white noisy thing that we've got. And so I'm simply going to click that, right click and choose high pass. And we're just going to high pass all of the bottom end out of it. So something about here. Now what we could also do with in this is, so it's not always apparent, because not necessarily we want it there all the time, is we're going to add some, again, subtle filter movements, maybe. Let's see what it's like. I don't know yet. I'm saying that and it might sound terrible, but let's figure it out. So we'll put my favorite low pass on, the SVF low pass. So, and I'll play with the frequency. Yeah, so we could do, it sounds like a wind actually, doesn't it? Right? Are you guys picking this up? You know? Oh, I like that. So yeah, let's do something like that. So now we can use another LFO, and let's use LFO2 and put it in here, which controls the filter here. And you know, we can then adjust that based on oxygen, yeah, exactly that. So we can use it then to adjust the frequency. So right now it's just a simple ramp, which is no good because that will just be nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So we don't really want that because, you know, that's not really musical in that sense. So what we'd like to do is maybe what we'd do, because I don't want it to be repetitive so much. So what I'm going to do is going to put a gate here instead. So I'm going to gate the filter, and so it will kind of do its own thing. So where maximum is obviously the most and minimum is the lowest. So I'm going to increase the steps a little bit so we have longer time for the filter to kind of do its magic. I'll put a little bit of smoothing on there so it's not so jittery. And I'm just going to just randomly make a mess of this. Just don't hang this up on your fridge, okay? So there we go. So piece of art I've created for you right there and then. So, you know, and now you can see that filter, let's put a bit of res on it maybe. So, you know, it's kind of doing its thing, but I still want it to be a little bit lower in places. So let's now just add a few real low drops. You know, again, I only want subtle movement, you know. And then smooth that a little bit, slow it down because I don't want it so fast. You know, maybe if you put some more steps in, why not, right? And then we can, you know, really have a little bit of fun. So, okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. Maybe a bit faster now. So, it's just something that kind of ticks along in the background, you know, so. You know, I don't really want any filter envelope on this because I don't think it necessarily needs it. But what I am going to do is sometimes the FM can create such a vibrant texture to a sound that's already textured. So sometimes the thing with FM is that with frequency modulation, it can either be a complete savior or a complete disaster, as I'm sure everybody is aware of FM by now. It can be very musical or it can be just disgusting. So our FM engine is no different. It's just you've got to press it and figure stuff out. You know, you can never say, oh, FM will sound amazing there. And so it's something that we can always play with and figure stuff out. So let's just do that. So I mean, it makes it kind of a bit dirtier, if anything, you know, which I kind of like, not gonna lie. But I think for this case, I'm not going to use FM. So I think we'll take that off. One thing I do want to add is some delay on this now, because of all when the filter kind of cuts itself off, then it's nice to kind of trigger some delays. So we're going to use the send effects here, and we're going to put, what should we put on here? Let's put a stereo delay, and then we can adjust the amount of delay in this slot by this send amount here. So for example, let's use a slow delay. So we use a quarter, and on the right we use an eighth. Let's put the feedback up a little bit more. And these are cuts if I don't want it too bright, which I don't. So I'll cut it off to around about 12K. Put the mix up. And then again, I don't want it too overbearing, but I want to have the vibe of it just sort of kind of bouncing around. So see, there it is. It just kind of adds that thing. Now, let's now put our original sound back on and hear what it's doing so far. Yeah, lovely. Can you hear this movement? You know, it's like everything is moving in the background. What that does, it gives you a perception of the first sound that's moving, although it's not. Again, because we use the cutoff here, which means that the frequencies aren't fighting. So it gives that perception that the first sound, the low rumble that we've got, is now also moving along with the second one, although it's not. It's just the way music and audio is, and so it's all good. We're not even, you know, anywhere near the final product yet, but this is just the stepping stones, and I'm just taking this slow just for you guys. Normally I'd be bish bash bosh and off I go, you know. So it is what it is. So as anything, while I'm at the effects, I'm just going to add some reverb because, well, reverb is cool, right, kids? So you know. And everyone uses it. So let's do that. Well, let's have some giga reverb. Just put a lot on there. You know, why not, right? And because we can. This is the thing. We've got these choices now. So, you know, we absolutely can. So, and reverb for ambience is a must-have, you know, so. Yeah, so we've got this nice kind of thing happening, right, which I like. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit downhill for a lot of other synths, right? you've just created yourself an awesome kind of, you know, drone note like this, and it's like, okay, I can only play in lower octaves now. I can't do anything else. And you're right. If I play high up now, don't get me wrong, it sounds good on our synth. Generally, it does. But it's not necessarily musical in that sense because we've still got space to add extra things and extra elements. So what do I mean by that? Well, let me give you an example. Let's go to a trusty synth on this one, okay? And what we'll do is we'll have some kind of industrial whine in the background, and we'll modulate the pitch of that so it feels a little bit, you know, all over the place. So let me just solo that just for a second, which is our trusty square wave, right? So, you know, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. Oh dear. So, so yeah, let's have. I don't know what sound we can have. All I want is just like a whine, essentially. So, something. Let's put the attack up a little bit, and a release. Maybe just that sound is fine as it is, but when we fiddle with it, it would be good. So let's now go back to our mods, okay? And in this mod, we're going to now mess with this sound entirely. Remember LFO1 that we created the unison on this one to create some movement? Well, we can now use that same LFO to do the same thing on Synth 1 because I want a similar kind of vibe happening there. So what we can do now is just drag this over to here. And now the difference here is I can set the detune amount to allow myself less detuning. So by putting the depth up now and putting the amount of voices, let's try 3. So, right, that sounds good. So we have a little bit of kind of, it sounds like pulse width, but yet not. It's just unison. And so maybe that's too much. I only want a small little bit. So maybe a bit more. Okay, there. But that's kind of nice. You know, I do have a little bit here of pulse width already. I put a little bit on. So, you know, I mean, this sound, it's not really meant to be anything more than a very quiet whine, and you'll understand where I'm going with that in a little while. So I'm now going to create a new LFO for the vibrato, which is the pitch shifting, but we're going to do this slightly different than normal. And so if you can imagine something that is almost random in terms of pitch shifting, actually, you know what? Let's just fiddle. Okay, so what I'll do is drag over this one. I don't know how this is going to work out. I'm just making this up as I go, but you know, we can figure stuff out. So obviously at the moment I've cranked the depth. Now if I now play this sound, then we're going to get F1 simulation sounds, so which is not what we desire. So at the moment I want to start off with negative pitch, which is 0 basically. So, and there's the pitch, so which is normal. But now what I want to do is slow this real down slow so it takes us on a journey. And what I'm going to do is just click lots of these points, okay? And then just make our own kind of slight altercation to the sound. And then when it gets there, you'll understand. Maybe a bit faster. And then we'd go up as well. So, you know, a little bit. And then just slow it down a little bit. Because I want that, it's just going to be a whine, right? So again, I just want to take out that low end. I don't need it. It's just a, you know, a thing, but maybe it's the wrong sound. So let's try a sine wave. With maybe a triangle. Yeah, that's much nicer. You know? So I like that. And it doesn't need to be anything more than that. We will put some reverb on it. And now what that will do is when I play the sound in a little while, I'll come back to this now because I know that I'll want that in there. But first I want to treat, oh actually, sorry. First I'm going to get a musical pad of some kind in here before we start adding all the cool stuff afterwards, okay? So we're going to make it semi-playable, all right? So like an atmospheric drone, but yet a pad and a texture at the same time because we can do that with Horizon. And I think that's really good. So we'll go into here and we'll choose a nice kind of pad sound. So let's just find one that I like. Let's solo this so we can hear it. Something maybe a little bit gentle or maybe even dark, I don't know yet. So too not right for what I want. Something darker. Nope. That's kind of nice. Ooh, that's a bit moody. I like that. Okay, let's run with this. I like that one. It's too high pitched right now, so I'm just going to bring that down by an octave. Lyndon, there is a random shape, but it doesn't work as well for what I want it to do. I need to be precise with things like that. The random is a bit too random, if you know what I mean, sometimes. So I'd rather be random by myself and make it longer, and then I can adjust it after. So that's just a nice pad sound by itself. Let's just treat that like a pad we would. So add some release, add a bit of attack just to soften it up for the transient. Add some reverb and a little bit of delay, right? There we go. Now with this one, I want to just bring down the filter. It's just because I want to make it dark sounding, you know, so like this. It's kind of calming, right? And that's good. That's nice. So yeah, so we'll bring that into the equation. Now this one, because if I play that pad now, this is where we're going to run into a bit of a problem. When you're designing sounds, you have to kind of design a sound like you're mixing a record. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've got lots of different sounds all together, then everything will start interfering with one another. The modulation in the mid-range will start fighting with the bass in the bottom end, so you won't have clarity in any sound, and so it will just turn a big mush. So the good thing about Horizon is not only does it come with an EQ per channel, but also it comes with a secret weapon that I like to call the range modifier. And it's very, very simple by design, and this is how it works. So at the moment, because I know that my bass end is coming from the sampler 1, which is that original drone sound that we had, and now I want to take away the bass from the pad. So at the moment, I don't want any of that keyboard down low. So I'm going to use the range here and set the start note to maybe like C2 or something like that, and add a fade to it, which will fade that in over an octave. So now, if I play down low now, then I don't get it. If I move it up slowly, then here comes the sound, but gradually until it gets to full tilter. You see what I mean? So maybe that's a bit too high. So let's bring it down to C1. So I think that would be good. So, and then it gets out the way of the bottom end. So that's that taken care of. So it means that this sampler 1, when we bring that back in, it means that that can then breathe with that pad. Now, likewise, if I now play the pad with all voices on, then you're not going to hear the pad, because all you're going to hear is all those ambient sounds which you don't want higher up in the pad playable zone. As you can hear, right? All of a sudden we've got a big mess going on, and that's not necessarily playable. So we want that really sonic drone, but with something beautiful in the mid-range, with something organic happening as well at the same time. So so what we do is on the first one, on this sound, our lower drone, we'll do the same, but an opposite. So now we'll bring that down to, say, I don't know, C1. So now if I play up high, as you can see here, nothing is sounding. And we'll do the same with this one here also, but a little bit higher up, so that you got a little bit of sound just playing. Or did I put that one on fade? Let's see. Yes, I did. Okay, good. Right, so now, obviously, if I play higher up, nothing is there. So if I now bring that out, then we've got our pad playing. And then low down, we've got the rumble that we want. You know? So at the moment, we've got that sound effect that I created earlier with the synth, you know, which we'll get to in a little while. So I'm going to mute that for now. So, because that's the last thing, because I want to add some crazy effects and stuff like that. So, so yeah, at the moment we've got the pad sound, which I want to just turn down a little bit. Now, the second one that we created, which is that whirly modulating thing, this thing, how about we put an effect on that now that kind of just spreads it around the atmosphere a little bit more. And so let's go to our effects and we'll create another send effect. And we'll put the auto panner on here. So we'll put the amount up, put the rate down, because we don't want it too crazy. Put the width up, and then we'll send it to this one right here. So let's see what that sounds like now. Okay, yeah, around about 40 I think is good. And so now that's just kind of, woo, you know. So it's going a little bit kind of left and right, left and right, left and right. Which is, again, just adding subtle movement. It's always about subtlety. Sorry, I can't even speak. Subtlety more than anything else. So, you know, I think that's, you know, credit to a lot of synths out there, and especially our one where you can kind of do the subtle to crazy. So, okay, so that's those ones done. Now let's just get a level with these three before we move on. So, because that's important. So, okay, so we've got that high end, but at the moment it's just a bit too boring, a bit too like dull. It just doesn't seem right. It's like, you know, there's ways that we can enhance that now. And so, of course, at this point, you're saying, well, that's fine. I mean, we've got all these other voices that we can utilize, and let's just do that. But first, let's start gaining some interest so we know what to fill in. So, like right now, if we wanted that industrial sound, I'd say we've got something really gnarly underneath, but we've got this beautiful pad above. So let's now create the in-between, so we can now have a lot of fun with the loops. So let's go across to that, right? And so with these, I'm looking for not, again, anything playable, but simple ambience and noise. So we'll go through some of these and see what one speaks to us. And it could be anything, you know, obviously we just don't know, but let's just figure it out. Let me solo this so we know what we're playing with. Actually, before I do that, let me just put a little bit of release on. Just because I know I'm going to want that anyway. So, and because this is going to be a drone sound that is always playable, again, I don't want it pitched because it's coming from a sampler. So, so I'm just going to turn pitch track off. So that then basically we're just going to have the one pitch no matter where you play it on the keyboard, and it will always be playing essentially, which is genius. So we got that. So again, this is quite a nice thing, but whether it's the suitable thing or not, we don't know. So let's now just investigate and we'll figure out what's good. Yes, you can. You can literally drag and drop anything you want. So, you know. Some scary kind of voices. A cassette player. Oh, I've done that one already. A coffee shop. That's my local Costa, that is. So, Costa, if you're watching, sponsor me. So, you know. Oh, I do like that. I'm not gonna lie, I do like that a lot. So, campfire. And the blacksmith. Hello, ambient. How you doing? The init button is if you click on the preset at the top. I'll show you. Click here, factory, init, right there. And then it's init for your one. It would say init 2.0. So you know, but yeah, it just starts fresh. So. No problem, and thank you very much for supporting Horizon. Do appreciate you so much. You know. Guys, I really like this sound. This is like whirly and nice, you know. I like the percussive thing. We can work with that on the second loop player. But this is good for like an overall kind of ambient sound, you know. And now I'm going to mess with this a little bit. Generally for ambient sounds, I don't like to put reverb or delays on them because it's a little bit, I don't know, it gets a little bit washy. So I like to keep them dry where possible. But I am going to put some unison on there, but very different way. Let's see if we can multiply this and detune it to a point where it just creates a weird kind of vibe, right? So I'm going to detune it so it's 6 semitones out by itself, right? So let's see if that adds anything nice. Yeah, it kind of adds like a I don't know if you can hear it, but on my headphones it sends it out across the other side of the room as far as I'm concerned, you know, which is nuts. So I'm going to work with this one. Let's see if we can bring out any of the nice frequencies of this. Like this. So I like that there. Oh, that's nice. So you got that metal kind of thing happening, you know, which is lovely. Let's slow that down a little bit, and just to see whether it adds a different dimension. Oh, I think I kind of like it lower pitched, you know. So, okay, let's run with that for now. So, okay, let's keep the pad away for a minute because we're not at that stage to create music. So let's just see what this sound plays nice with the other one. I might need to take out a little bit of bass. In fact, I probably will. So I'm just going to dip a little bit here in the lower mids. So, and we'll see how that plays nice with the other ones so far. So, and we might need to actually... now let's keep it full range for now because we might need to change it later on. So, oh yeah, you can hear that whirling away, right? So, and there's that sound that's modulating and stuff, right? It's like, that's lovely. I like that. So, and one step further, right? Let's now create a kind of an impact sound that we can then use and manipulate with and things. You know what I'm also going to do? This, because I'm making this up on the spot. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm literally just making it up. I'm just going to change the note so it goes higher up on the keyboard a little bit more because I don't, you know, I don't want to get rid of it totally. So let's just increase that a little bit. And in Sampler 4, what I'm going to do is add some kind of, what have I got here? These are just hits. No. Ooh, jackpot, right? That's nice. Ooh, lovely, 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 lovely. So, excellent. Yeah, that's really nice. So now, I can use that to kind of trigger the start of all these events. So, which is cool. Again, I don't want that high up because otherwise we sound like Mickey Mouse, and no one wants that. So, you know, so let's really bring that down. I only want that in the real low octaves. So, a little bit higher. Yeah, to there. And I'm going to increase the pitch of that. Like so. Put some release on it. Put a little bit of attack on it. That's nice. Right, so now we've got that kind of attack, but I do want to EQ that. Take out the lower. And maybe sweep that frequency. Oh, there's too much mid-range. Just there. So, give a little bit of height to it as well. Which is great. I think I'll put a little bit of reverb on that and maybe a bit of delay as well. Just to kind of help keep it on, you know? So, you know, Mickey Mouse can get industrial. I don't know about that. Hey, hey, Pluto! Okay, I'm not going to do Mickey Mouse impressions. I'm sorry. I'm just not. So, that's not what I'm paid to do. So, so yeah, let's now bring that in with our other sounds and see whether that hit adds anything. It gives a sense of urgency to it, you know? So, yeah, very nice. Very nice. So now I think on loop number 2, we will add something a little bit rhythmic, I think, or something, you know. Whistle Tom, yes, you can. If you double click on the EQ, and then you just use your mouse wheel to, I don't know if you can you see that on your screen? So you can just use it like a regular, basically what you can do in Pro EQ is what you can do on this. So, you know, so absolutely. Great stuff. Yeah, there you go. And then so you can do many things. You can, obviously, you've got low pass, high pass, low shelf, high shelf, and peak, you know, which is essentially a bell curve. And then you can delete the bands, so on and so forth. But here's the crazy thing. You can add 1,000,001 points if you really want to. Do you know what I mean? There you go. Just a little bit of fun. You know, so yeah, let's not do that. Oh, it's great. It's really nice, and this is why I think Horizon, in my opinion, stands out more so than a lot of other synths in our genre, or our class, I should say, is because every channel that we have in here, if you consider these as 10 channels, so to speak, 10 voices, of course, but to each voice, everything on this page is all independent. You know, so it's like, you know, it does its own thing. And so, you know, you can then kind of mix on the fly like you would a record or whatever, and you don't have to worry about overlapping frequencies or not layering so much because it's just going to disturb the setting. And so you've got complete control over everything. So it's really good in that sense. So let's now use, I've got these texture loops here. So let's solo this and figure out something that we want to have. Again, I'm going to take pitch track off, and then we'll see what we come up with. I don't know what these are without going through them. Let's turn it up a bit. So let's have some loopy things. I'll tell you what I'd like. What I'm kind of hearing is some weird, crazy bells and things, and just as I said that happened. Are you crazy? Ambient, you can't figure out how to drag your own sample to sampler. Okay, let me show you. All you do is, hang on, let me go to my things. So, for example, I've got a file here. All you do is you simply drag it on top of it. So look, here's my file right here. So all you do is just plop it on top. Yes, only on the loop ones. So yes, so we may or may not rename these so that the sampler is called voice and the loops are called samplers. I appreciate that a lot of people know samplers in the modern world rather than the retrospective world. So we may make that decision to change that at a later date. May. That's not confirmed, but you know. So yeah. So that's it. Pete, I don't have them at hand, but as I said, after the stream, I'll happily give them to you. Pete, to make it easier, if you go to thesynthfactory.com and then if you then send me a submission request form, I can help you straight after the stream, okay? Not a problem. Right. Yes, well, it's funny you should mention that to Shakia, or Troy, I should call you. I tested that today, and put it this way, I dragged in a 10-minute audio file, and it still worked. So I'd like to say no. But whether you can actually physically handle that very much on your system is depending on you. But I don't know who wants to drag in a 10-minute audio file to a loop player on a synth, however. So, you know, so... Yeah, 2 minutes, not an issue, you know. Ghost, absolutely. It's all about you discovering stuff, you know. I mean, the sounds that we've created in the actual loops, which is the samplers here, they're all just designed for just knickknacks, essentially, right? And just random elements that you can play with, as we're doing today. And so it makes it interesting in that sense. So, you know, let's go back to where we were with this one. I like that, and I'm going to use this, I think. What I'd really love, which I don't have yet, you'll have to wait for the expansion. So a little bit of a teaser. I got some real dark bells happening, you know, big church bells that is from our village that I recorded, and they just sound amazing. Oh, that's sick as well. Oh, I don't know what one to use now, because I like that. Ooh. The trouble is this going to fit a vibe? I don't think so. Let's go with this one. I like this. It's not quite as rhythmic as I'd like, but we can, you know, it's fine for now. I do want to play with things, though, on this. And that's it. I want to control the amount of high end that we have by a filter. So we can do that. So let's just use LFO4 on this one. I'm going to take off that here. And what we'll do is, I think, let's start just drawing a random shape, I guess. So, and seeing what that's like. Okay, it needs to be more. Too fast, obviously, but now I can create something a bit random. Now slow it down. And now take off that low end, because again, we don't want that. And put the auto panner on there, I think would be great. Let's put some modulation on that. And just from that one sound, listen to what that's done with just a little bit of modulation. You know? That's kind of nice. I like that. Tremolo, actually I can put some tremolo on the pad stuff in a little while, and then that's a good shout. So I'll fiddle with that in a second. So there's our kind of our ambient stuff done. In terms of, we've got 2 sound effects here. We've got a couple of ambient-esque sounds going on. And then don't forget the highlight of the show, which I'll go through next, which is our little synth that we created early on, this one, which is our little high note. So, and I know that sounds so random, but again, we don't want this full range. So, and I only want that really, really high up on the keyboard, actually. So, in just the upper octaves. So, and the reason why I want that is so you can then play with it to create something with the modulation wheel. Now, this is another top tip that I want to show people with, who own Horizon that may or may not be aware of this feature, and that's with Horizon, not only can you change every single one of the 10 different voices that we have, and because everything is independent, in a lot of synths, if you press a key and then use the mod wheel, it's going to affect everything. And I don't want that to happen with everything, because it will spoil the mood that I've got underneath. So because we're on synth 1 here, if you go to the options here and you've got a pitch wheel amount, so, and you can lock that or unlock it. So at the moment it's locked, which means that I can now select everything and choose everything together. So if I put that at 0, because I don't want any modulation on, pitch wheel modulation on any of the other sounds, I only want it on my synth that I've just created here, which is synth 1. Unlock it, and now I can put that at, I don't know, let's say -12 for argument's sake, right? So, and then, you know, you can then fiddle with it. So when you then bring in all these sounds together, so you can play low down, for example, and so you've got the original sound, and then you can bring in that high note, like so. But now what we can do with it is we can now make that sound like it's part of this whole, you know, universe that we've just created. So, but we've got the pitch modulation down and we've sorted that out. Now we just got to sort everything else out. So at the moment it's obviously way too loud, so we want to turn the volume down and then put some reverb and some delays on there, and then give it a little bit more attack time maybe, you know, and to see what we can kind of do with that. And then you know, so you can kind of get this wishy-washy kind of thing happening, you know. And not only that, is I want to talk about velocity as well. And so at the moment we've got all these millions of sounds going on. I'm just going to mute that loop 2 for a minute, because that's interfering with me and I need to change that. But if I go back to the original sounds that we created, now at the moment you can only hear a couple of different sounds because I'm pressing lightly on the keyboard. But if I now press a bit harder, a new sound will be played. You see what I mean? So, you know, so it is kind of great in that sense. So, you know, loop velocity, touch velocity is to do with everything, and we do have some even more CC modifiers coming in the next version of Horizon. So, I'm just gonna take a second to catch up with chat. So sorry I haven't been ignoring you. I've just been engrossed in what I'm doing. So ambient, probably feature chorus would be nice to have. Yes, you've already got that already on the loop player. You simply drag it in, and the start and end points you can just move them. So it's not a problem. So yeah, again, in a later version, this will be much easier to see, as you'll find out in the next update. So yeah, we're doing some visual improvements across the board, really. So great. What was people saying? Add your own sounds are really cool. Ghost, I agree with you. Adding own sounds, I think, was really important to our vision, because we understand that, you know, yes, while we're the producers of this plugin, but it doesn't mean to say that we need to dictate everything to you to play only, and you know, it's not a one-trick pony. We feel that we've given you enough great stuff to play with, but feel free, add your own touch to something, and we absolutely encourage that. And that's where you got 2 loop players you can just drag in, have fun, manipulate, and go for it, you know. So iAmbient, there is a manual per se on our Synth Factory playlist already. I simply sit there for I think about an hour in total through 10 different videos, just explaining what each and individual part does. So, and I break it down into little bite sizes for you. So you want to maybe take a look at that. So doing a manual of this magnitude is very difficult when there's so many additions that we're adding to all the time. So it's not really something that is on our agenda right this second. But you know, once we stabilize, then not a problem, you know. But instead, we do this with YouTube videos instead nowadays. That seems to be the way forward, because people can get an interactive way of doing it. And the thing is, we're trying to build our own community as well. And so by having people such as yourself who want to learn the synth, who want to ask questions, we're always there for you. You know, it's as simple as that, in that sense. Expo, thank you very much for the sub. Do appreciate you. Thank you. So, yeah, Lyndon, you're the better typer. You're the brains. You do it. So, back to this sound. Oh my god, I've just realised where I've heard this sound before. Like, that's eerie, right? You know what I mean? Ooh, kind of spooky, you know. Right, let's not forget about our pad. So, on our last remaining sampler voice. So, and we've got that right here. This is the beautiful little pad, you know. Yes, there is Strange Delight. We're just doing that at the moment, so stay tuned. We're getting some codes generated that you'll be able to use, and that'll be emailed to you. So our little pad is kind of sitting there all pretty, but yet boring by itself. And so let's now make something of this, I think. Let's add the tremolo to this, I think, just to demonstrate that a little bit. So what we'll do is we've got 2 more modifiers left. So let's just drag this one to the tremolo, and we'll see what this does. Actually, I love gate on tremolo, actually, so let's do that. I know I've already used a gate, but I do enjoy a gate on a tremolo, I'm not going to lie. So this is fun. So you just drag a load of nonsense, do some more artwork, and let's now put the depth up, shall we? And then it kind of self-modulates a little bit there. You know, for this, I think, because we kind of want a random-esque kind of thing, so I'm going to go a little bit crazy, and I'm going to put the steps to, like, stupid amounts. So we get a real story being told, do you know what I mean? So let's create the art of the month. There you go. So I'm the Bob Ross of producing music. So So now that will just kind of essentially just do its thing in the background forever, essentially. So, you know, and just let it be what it's doing. So one other thing I want to point out right now is the velocity modifier, because I think that's important to demonstrate. So let me demonstrate it on velocity mod 1 for now, right? So if I drag the velocity modifier, and that's controlled at filter level, so you obviously play the sound, it goes to the filters, and then the velocity of that is what translates out to the sound. So right now, if I play, then straight away you get almost the full sound because you're in ramp mode, okay? So it starts off at one point and obviously goes up to the maximum. And now, obviously from here, you can now drag points around or do whatever you've got to do and set it to what suits your keyboard best or your playing style, right? So, like right now, it's almost like there is no velocity at all because it's just full on, right? So everywhere I play, it's just going to be full on. And that's not a bad thing if that's what you're into, right? But I think this is a good time to demonstrate that. So if you want something that is progressive or a little bit kind of subtle and movie-esque and atmospheric, then it's better to have the other way around so you can lean into the sound. And so so you can do that with this. So for example, if you want to just play normally and then have the lower vibe, and then when you really dig in, it will then shout at you, then you want this kind of curve. You see what I mean? So now if I play, then it's playing softly, and I'm playing quite hard on the keyboard, right? And so now if I then, you know, just play, then it's always going to sound like that. But then if I want to be expressive, then you can. You simply just now press harder. You know? Obviously I'm hammering the keys right now. I don't know if you can hear the keys, but you know. And now you can go back to being gentle and, you know, have a moment. You know. Which basically changes the dynamics, changes the sound and the timbre of the sound that you're working with. So that's very, very important in sound design right there. Is for obviously edgy sounds, for EDM and things like that, you want less dynamics because you want everything to be pumping and neutral. But for movie stuff, you want dynamics in spades, and this is the best way to get you there. However, and moreover, is there's also up here in the Realism engine, there is a velocity knob right here that basically is your overall velocity. So even though you've got the VMod set to how you want, you can use this and turn that off so that it becomes a lot less velocity sensitive, if you see what I mean. Dynamics are a great thing in terms of music, but again, we've tried to cover all bases there so you know what it is that you want, you know. So yeah, there is that. So I'm just going to put the velocity back to normal now. And I'll go through this Realism engine in a little while because it's something I forgot to do last time. So we'll go through that in a sec. So anyway, so here's our lovely, beautiful pad. And we've kind of got it here. We've got a tremolo kind of running and yada, yada, yada. Let's now add maybe and I did this last time on stream, but I think for this sound it will maybe I'll get there in a minute. So let's just, I don't want to run before I can walk. I'm going into sound design mode where I'm just racing ahead, so, and I understand I've got to take this slow and steady. So maybe we can put a little bit of glide on this sound so it will glide up to it. Just make it nice and gentle and cool, so, you know, which is kind of nice. But, you know, the pad by itself is not enough, so we need a little bit more strength to it with this, with that pad. So I'm going to go to another synth here, and we're going to add like a sine pad or something like that. You know, don't know. We'll figure it out. So let's add. We'll start off with maybe a saw and a square? Question mark. So let's do that. Old school style, right? Put some unison on there. And then just filter it. Let's try the FM engine. But this time we'll put the octave lower. Oh, that's nice. That's pretty. Give some reverb and a little bit of delay and a little bit of auto panner. That's nice. Let's see if that works with a pad. Yeah, that's nice. I think, you know. And now let's try that with everything all in and see where we're at. You know, so... Sounds like the Terminator start, doesn't it? T-1000s are come to get you. Okay, I put those samples too high on the keyboard still, but yeah, you kind of get the idea. Then from there, you just kind of tweak around and get it to where you want it to be and bits and pieces. So I'm just going to bring that down, and this one as well. I just put those too high, so, you know. Now for loop 2, which is the one that we muted earlier, now this is the other one that I want to play with, so we can now look at other variants of this, so, you know, and see what kind of works here. Okay, I like that. That's interesting. It's too loud, but I like it. It's kind of spooky. That's a whole soundtrack right there, you know? So... it really is. So, one preset. You know, one preset. It did all of that. And that's not necessarily me sitting here working out everything that I want to work out either. And so this was just a quick demonstration. Now, if I wasn't talking anyone through this, that would be done in literally 2 minutes. You know what I mean? And this is why Horizon is so powerful, because it starts with this center section, which is the modulation section. Once you learn this and what it can do, then everything is on screen for you. So you select your layer you want and think, oh, I want this to drag to here, to there, to everywhere. And so it becomes very intuitive very, very quickly. And let me tell you, muscle memory soon picks up, you know. So, you know, Frank, absolutely it is. And, you know, as I said, we did a lot of hard work, and our earlier revisions of Horizon was nowhere near this. And we had a very complicated system called a matrix system back in the day. With Horizon 1.0, and while it was really good, but it was too confusing to explain to somebody, you know, and so it was really just a little bit awkward in that sense. So with the rebirth of the new user interface that we've done, it's really good, and we've got a lot of information that's cleverly laid out. You know, again, not my words, they're reviewers' words. So you know, we're pleased to have a lot of people that show a lot of appreciation to this. So, you know, but as you can see from here, just building this one sound already is, well, it's like it was so easy, you know, you could just quickly do it. And of course from there, you know, you can then do anything you want. You could then just revisit samples, you can then rebalance things, you can do things, and so on and so forth. Like, to create a pad sound is so incredibly quick and so incredibly easy to do. If that's your flavor in terms of ambience, then it's not an issue, you know. So, you know, thank you very much, Frank. Thank you. Catching up. Ghost, yes, you can. Yes, every single one. Sampler through to the loop. It's right here. It's called pan. It's right here. So, yes. You can't do the panning with an LFO yet, but there is a panning effect called auto panner. So, and you can put that as a send on whatever voice you want. So technically you can, yes, but there is no LFO on the pan control yet. So yeah. More questions. When you drag a sample or a loop from a random folder and save the patch, is it stored on a pointer or copied into Horizon's? No, it's not. It just remembers where it is, your sample. So basically, if you drag the sample in and then load it up next time, as long as that sample hasn't moved, it remembers the location. So yes. Frank, thank you very much. You're very kind. You know, honestly. I mean, I'm not done yet. I've still got more to show today. So, you know, I just wanted to create that ambient patch just to show people just the power of what Horizon can kind of do, you know. So, in just the general scheme of things, I'm more about showing you tips and tricks today after this, because there's lots of little things that, you know, people don't know about synths and of our stuff that is really useful information to have. So, you know, so yeah, we're kind of, you know, done with this, but there's a few other things I want to show you, which is the Realism engine as well in a little while. So so we'll do that next, which is all to do with analog stuff, you know. So because I do believe there's a lot of people here that are into analog sounds as well, and so while dealing with samples and things is great, obviously. You can obviously do a lot more with samples than you can perhaps with normal, you know, VA and wavetable synths. But they've all got their pros and cons, of course, and so we looked at that, and that's why we've got both put together. And so it's the best of both worlds at the end of the day, you know. So indeed it is very powerful, and thank you for mentioning that, you know. So it is absolutely. Right, so let's again go back to our friend called Init. And we will create a new one. And so this time we're going to look at the virtual analog system and setup, and just create just a real basic kind of analog thing. I'm not going to go into depth here because it's more about showing you on this one, so to speak. So there's a couple of cool things I want to show you here with the virtual analog and our wavetable synthesis. So and we can have a look at that next. So analog one shots. Well, Odo is, I'm so sorry, I'm not very good at reading names. Is it Odo Steph? Is that how you pronounce your name? Apologies if I've got that wrong, but yeah. So there is a little tip that I want to show you in a second about that. So keep your eyes peeled to the screen. That might impress you very much if you're talking about one shots with analog. So something that I use all of the time, and one of Horizon's many hidden talents, let's say. Okay, well, I got one thing right today, so so that's good. Well done. So okay, look, actually I'll do that now, just while you're here, rather than keep you siding, and then I'll get on with the Realism engine, because there's so much still to show you on this synth that I haven't really kind of gone through, but this is why we do many streams, and you know, so on and so forth. So if I go to my loop player again, I know you've seen this before, but inside Horizon, I have included wavetables, right? So, and don't be confused by this, because inside the synths here, there's a wavetable, right? So, and here are the wavetables in here. But why am I looking at the loop player, which is you drag your own samples to? Well, here's the good thing. A loop player, or our loop player, can handle single cycle one-shots of analog synths. And let me demonstrate. And actually I included some here, single cycle wavetables. So if I simply show you a rude one first, you know, clearly, let's move on from that one, because we're not 12 anymore. Or maybe we are, I don't know. But yeah, these are all wavetables essentially. So, you know, if I now play, then, you know, we're going to get the sound of just that, right? So you can simply just create your own wavetables by any method or whatever, or use some others. As long as they're single cycle, then they work in here. You know, and then you can just use them as normal and do whatever it is that you want to have to do, you know. So as I say, they're all here for you, so to speak. So, you know, you can add unison, you know, do whatever it is you want. So there you go. So that's just one way that you may or may not know. So, you know, then you've got your own, you know, you got your own self-designed thing. So so there you go. So that's top tip number one for you. And of course you can use everything else, all the effects and whatever, and la la la. So yeah, it's all good stuff. So let's mute that for now and go back to the synths, because we're just going to work on that for now. So our synthesis engine, our virtual analog, is a dual oscillator mode. So it's akimbo. So where one oscillator is not enough. So let's just work with one for now, just to show you. So with a single oscillator, we have our amazing square sound that has an octave switch. This is really useful when you run both together, but this is simply nothing more than just an octave switch. So it can obviously go through the octaves. We have a detune, again really useful if you're running dual, but I'll go through that in a second. And then we have a pulse width modulation, so that you change the sound. And we've got a little V down here. Now, what does that mean? Well, that is velocity touch. Let me say that again. That's velocity touch sensitive. So if I press it, and the harder I press, the more the velocity, see the thing move there, so you can then kind of variable based on how you play, you know, so you can kind of do that. Now, if you now bring in the second one, so let's keep another square here, why not? Right, and so right now you can now mix between the two just with this mix knob here. So obviously full counterclockwise to the right is just this one on the right, and then obviously in between is both of them equally. So now I can use the detune here to detune one from the other, so, and to make it sound terrible, or I can make it just mild enough to make it kind of sing a little bit, you know. So it gives you that sense of difference. And then, of course, you can still use the pulse width modulation on either. But for now, let's just keep it as stock, just for argument's sake. So that's what that does. Now, if you want to sync both oscillators together to lock them in position, then basically the oscillator sync mode is for you. So then it just becomes one bigger oscillator, so to speak, rather than two separate ones, but you get more power, so to speak. But I always prefer it unlocked for my own personal tastes. Then we have the standard stuff here. Volume, we've got pitching, obviously that can be modulated via the vibrato. We have transpose, a master transpose other than these. So, and then we have the pan control right there. And then obviously we have a volume control. Now, within these top boxes, you can then choose between what shape that you want, whether it be sine, square, noise, triangle, yada, 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 right? So you can pretty much have what it is that you want. So, you know, that is your choice based on a normal analog synth that you're all familiar with at this point in time. And so, you know, you can do obviously the same things with gain envelopes and filters, tremolo, vibratos, unisons, you name it, yada, 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 right? And then you can go to town. And so, and this is where, by the way, the FM engine works best on these types of sounds. Sometimes you can create some really interesting, gnarly sounds, especially for EDM and, you know, that kind of in-your-face punchy sounds, I'd say. Slightly dirty but not distorted sounds, if that makes any sense. So it's really good for that. So that's our standard kind of our thing. Now, some will say, okay, well, how do you add modulation to these when you've got the vibrato down here? So if I click on this, then nothing happens. Well, that's because you need to assign something to it. So if we wanted just gentle modulation, like a normal analog synth would have, then we only want to use the depth very, very mildly. And so let's put on LFO1 here, and then just set this at a sine wave. And then we can set our speed up here. And there we go. Right, and not only that is we can now say, okay, I don't want it on transient. So if we click retrigger, and then we put the, sorry, wrong knob. If we put the fade in a little bit, then it will come in after a little while. So, you know, velocity red equals on. Yes, indeed, I ambient. Absolutely correct. Yes. So, yeah. So that's the analog synth in a nutshell. So, I mean, I know we're not dealing with patches or amazing presets. I'm just simply showing you bits and pieces. Something else I want to show you now is the Realism engine. Now, let me just take the vibrato off, because this is very important for you lo-fi fans out there and general, let's say purists. I'd like to say that. Let's call that word because it sounds better. Right, so the Realism engine. Now, what is this? This is something I haven't covered before, but I'm just going to walk you through it right now. So bear with me. So we have an overall global saturation. So basically, we've got saturation on the master output. So it's very, very subtle. So if you've got 10 sounds loaded and you crank that, you'll probably hear a little bit of dirt happening. But it's just harmonics. So it's not there to destroy your sound. So use it at your own will. It's not a problem. It's just there, right? So, you know, and we're just yeah, it's fun. Right, so so the other thing we have here is the velocity, which I explained earlier on, and then we have an offset here. So what does this offset do? Well, the offset, if you think about left and right hitting the master at the same time, the offset will offset the time it will before it hits the master section. So you get that, what is called in the industry is the Mudson effect. Okay, so it hits the master section at a different thing. So I don't know how this is going to affect the streaming, so it may or may not work. It's something you'll have to try by yourself. But you see, it just adds a little bit of extra width to something. It's subtle, but so you get more width essentially, and it's just ever so slightly delayed by a few milliseconds, pretty much, and that's about it. The width control is your stereo panning, left and right. So if that's obviously mono, and then it goes all the way up to silly amount, so you can have a really wide sound if you so want to. If you're doing a real spacious cinematic pad sound or something, then yeah, crank it up and enjoy it. You know, it's great. If you've got a lot of sub information in the middle that you want to keep mono, just spread that pad out. It's not a problem, right? It's fun. So, you know, I'll put that back. Now, these other ones are analog specific. So, so we have timbre variation, and what that does is it takes the root of the sound, and as you dial this up more, it will change ever so slightly the sound of the kind of the note, right? It's not changing in a you know, definitive sense. So it's not like changing it to a saw wave from a square or anything like that, but it's just changing the sound ever so slightly. And again, it's unique and subtle. We have pitch variation, which will basically change the pitch so much. So if you think so the more I play, eventually that will just kind of ever so much go out of tune. I think it goes down to -3 semitones, if I'm rightly. I could be completely wrong, or even -1. I know it's only subtle, but this is essentially off, and it goes up to, okay, 1 semitone. There you go. So it's only a mild amount. Then we have the drift, which is, for you, again, lo-fi people. So if you turn this up, and then you play, hopefully we'll hear it. There you go. You see, it just goes out of tune, right? So let me crank it so you can really hear it. There you go. It's obviously way too much like this, but you get the idea, right? So, and that kind of just does that automatically for you. So if you're creating now those real analog sounds, then a little bit of all these goes a long way. The unison detune. Now, remember earlier on this detune here that I was playing around with the modulation for? So if you've got the detune here set like this, the unison detune will variable that detune amount by a certain amount. So again, it gives you a little bit of extra, you know, source, I'd like to say, on that one. Mod shape, I have absolutely no idea what that is. Lyndon, over to you, sir. So, yeah, so that I don't know what that does. Offset, I don't know what that does. Oscillator mix, I know what this does. And that changes the variable for the mix knob right here. And the filters, this will have a little bit of variation on the frequency of the filters. So, so there we go. So each modulator you use, okay, various shape. Okay, right, I got you. Okay, there we go. Right. Yes. See, this is how honest we are, you know. Pills Ovation, thank you very much. This is exactly what we're hoping for. They are our main competitors, but you know, we've got a lot of love for Omnisphere. So I was there right from the beginning with Omnisphere, so I do adore that company. But yeah, it's very kind of you to say that. So that's what we're hoping for. Moving on with this, we have the what we call just the master section. I know it's all in a Realism engine, and funny enough, myself and Lyndon was having a discussion about this today. We just need to have a different name for this section here, whereby we separate things accordingly so people will understand them more. So, but that's all yet to come, all these updates. But anyway, essentially what we have is an onboard limiter. Again, it's really subtle. You don't need to crank it or anything like that. In fact, you don't even need to touch it. It's just on by default, and you quite rightly turn it off. But all it does is just does it so it doesn't overload the synth, that's all. So it's just a safety net if you so require it. So, you know, and that's that. So one other thing, we've looked at the virtual analog. Let me just quickly show you the wavetable side of things. So, which we have right here. So let me just turn off the unison for a second. So, so if you're into wavetables, it's all good. Now, this is, oh, hang on, I've got things left on over here. Right. So, right. Okay. Now, so your basic wavetable right here. Now there's two ways of using the wavetable. There is the position via a modifier LFO, which I'll show you in a second, or there's you can physically scrub through the wavetable to find your desired timbre that you'd like. So let me demonstrate that first. Fixed position, click that. You can now scrub through the sound and get what you want, right? So that's good. And so it's like, oh, you know what? I don't like that gnarly sound at the end. No problem, right? And that's fine. Even if you want to control it via an LFO, you can still avoid that sound by just not having it open up so much. So now if I turn off fixed position, and if I now apply an LFO, so let's put this ramp up here, right? LFO 2. So, oh, I've just discovered a bug, I do believe. Yes. Okay, message to Lyndon that no one else can hear. We just need to fix the LFO draggable object. It doesn't change, so I'll do it via here instead. So, okay, LFO 2. Basically, as you can hear now, it now is just going through this. Obviously, I'm going to speed this up. As nasty as it sounds, but that's what you can do. And of course, you can now just design your own by just having fun and, you know, doing what you want. You know, so on and so forth. So you can do it like that. Change the sound or whatever. If wavetables are for you, then this is the place to be, you know, if you so want that type of thing, you know. Yep, absolutely, it's on the list. So, as I said, we're starting from ground zero here, and we're just working our way up. So it's not a problem, you know. So, yeah, we do have granular engine coming per voice in Horizon as well, which is massive. Just, yeah. So that's going to be incredible when it hits. So yeah, there's lots of work going on in the background, so we're on it. So that's wavetables and virtual analog. Nothing too amazingly new there, but I thought I would show it because I had a support call where someone didn't understand the difference between virtual analog and wavetable, and I understood that not everybody is at the same level that comes to these streams, and I do apologize to a lot of people who are watching who already know this stuff automatically off the top of your head, and I respect that. However, as a developer, I have to always assume that everyone's the lowest level, so that I can then get them up to speed, if you see what I mean. So do apologize if you have to sit there and think, oh, this is like really boring, and it probably is, but these are just educational for everyone to watch in the background. So, you know, so yeah, so just a little disclaimer there. Right. Next thing I want to talk about is our XY pad. which I want to show you, because we've been getting a lot of questions about that, and I understand that it can be obviously quite confusing. So the best way to describe that is by a nonsense sound, as I call them. So let's load up, I don't know, just a random sound. This one, I don't know what it is. Listen for voices, and I hope that this doesn't have the XY pad already running. No. Okay, good. Right. So in here, sorry, I'm just reading chat at the same time. So, okay, right, okay. So in here, we've got a sound that I haven't used the XY pad. So this is the kind of the heart and soul of Horizon. So obviously, if I play a sound right now and drag this around, nothing happens. The reason why nothing happens is because I haven't assigned anything to happen. Now, in here, I've got, let's solo these sounds. So in sampler 1, I have a dark loop by the sounds of it. In sampler 2, okay, there's a big, like, drone hit thing. Sampler 3 is a pad that I modulated. So that's really good. So what we'll do is we'll take sampler 1 and we'll put it on this top corner, and we'll take sampler 3 and we'll put it down here, right? Why not? And then we'll see what else we've got. What we've got in 4. Okay, we've got another sound, another kind of ambient sound. So we'll put that in this top corner here. Anything else I'm using on here? Okay, we've got some loops. What's going on here? Okay, some voices. And another drone. Okay, so the 2 loops, we'll put those together. So let's drag the loop 1 and loop 2 down here. Now, this is just to demonstrate to you guys. I wouldn't necessarily do it like this, but it's, again, just to demonstrate. But so now if I play the sound, what happens is that now I can create a complete custom soundscape. So this is where your ambient sounds become real. So, I mean, that's gorgeous sounding right here. And it's like, okay, so what do you do with that? And I don't want to sit here and just fiddle around with the mouse all day while I'm trying to play. That's just not really effective. So no problem, we got you covered here. So you can record that now. So if I just play and then record it. So we do that. I know that would do. So, and then I just press play, and then I can play. And if I re-trigger it, which means it will start from the start every time. So, and now I can then just sit back, drink my coffee, and it does it for me, right? So, you know, which is kind of awesome. And just as a side note, before I get any questions, yes, here, XY pad control, you can assign those to whatever keyboard you're using, modulation wheel, whatever. So, you know, it's not a problem. So, so yeah, there it goes. It's just doing its thing, so to speak. You know, which is great. So you can take any of the sounds, and I find the thing is with a lot of these ambient sounds is when I first started creating these, I was doing this all the time, and then I soon stopped myself because movement like this is very much dependent on what you want, and so I just left it at flat. I gave you some to experiment with, but I find it's one of those things that are really important for you, sort of thing, you know, to do. So yeah, so there's that. So that's the XY pad in motion. Now, I'm going to show you real quick the actually, let me now show you some of the arpeggiated stuff. So, I don't know, I'm going to load a random sound. So, yes, they are whistle. So, and also you can, there's a little icon down here for save. So you can save, if you've designed a patch that you know is going to be consistent across the score that you're doing, then you can save that patch and reload that into another one if you want the same movement, you know. So, you know, pure salvation, it already is, yes. So just FYI. So yes, so it's all good. So yeah, it's all good. Right, so the ARPs. So again, we all know what ARPs are, so I'm not going to spend a great detail here, but so your standard ARP, really. So, you know, it kind of does what it does, and so on and so forth. The thing is, what's different to ours is that we have multiple arpeggiators. So, you know, where you have on this sound, I don't think no, okay, I'm only using one. So, for example, right now I'm only using on one sound the arpeggiator on synth 1. All the rest aren't being arpeggiated, which is, again, very different. A lot of synths only allow all those voices in that sound to use that arpeggiator, if you see what I mean, right? So, so this is unique to us straight away. The fact of you can choose what sound out of the 10 that you're using is going to be arpeggiated. So you can have obviously all 10 if you want, if that's your thing, or you can just have some movement going on and you think, oh, I want a little bit of rhythmic action going on an arpeggiator on a different sound. Sure, no problem, we got you. Just select it via the routing and off it goes, you know. So and there you go. And so that's what you get. Now in the second ARP, let's just turn that on. Let's first of all find a sound that we can arpeggiate. So what's this one doing? Oh, that's not even being used, my bad. Nor is that one. I think this is just synths, actually. Is it? What was this one? Okay, yeah, that's that synth. Let's use, I tell you what, let's just make another synth just for the sake of showing you. So if I just lower this octave, let's find something that fits that vibe. So just make that a little bit lower, put a little bit of release on there. Let's put some unison on it. Again, not really going into detail here. So right, so now I can then arpeggiate this one. So we're on synth 2. So if I press synth 2 on this one now, then and turn it on, then there it goes. Again, this is not rocket science here. We've all played with an ARP before, pretty much, so nothing special is happening here. If I just play a chord, it's just going to arpeggiate between the chords, right? So, and now we can choose the tempo of the track, whether it's 8ths, quarter notes, 16ths, 32s, so on and so forth, right? So, you know, so we can just kind of go to town on that one. We can also swing that as well. And we've got variable options here. So we've got up, we've got obviously down, up and down, down and up, random, which is quite tuneful sometimes. And then we've got chords, which is good for your kind of your, you know, your EDM. You know, and so you can kind of do it like that. So, which is kind of interesting, I think. So, for this one, let's choose chords. Why not, right? And we'll just do something really basic. So I'm just going to take out every one, right? And so, you know, we've got that kind of sequence going. Now, if we then bring that in with the other sound we had. There we go. So now it's got the option to kind of do what you want in terms of that, you know, so you know, it's all good. It's essentially, so you know, right, catching up on chat, sorry. Pete, I do, but yeah, as I said, send me that email and I will happily kind of answer you after this stream. So is there going to be a demo of 2.5? Oh, it's still 2 when I downloaded it. Doc, there already is a 2.5 demo. Just go to traction.com and click on Horizon, and then you can download a demo. So, but you will need to delete version 2.0 first. So, just so you're aware. So the SC wavetables are only changeable for the loop section, yet as far as I can see. Bays, yes, absolutely. So you can drop your own single cycle wavetables in, and that's obviously how you can make your own or do your own or whatever. But obviously it's not the final solution. It is just simply a little hidden secret that Horizon has. It's certainly not optimal. But if you want something that's quick and ready to go, then absolutely. Of course, being a sample player, it has to play that single wavetable multiple thousands of times, obviously, as it plays, because it's only a single cycle. So the higher that you play up on the keyboard, some aliasing can occur. And so, but while that is very true to the real life analogs, because I've got real analog machines here, they also do the same thing. So it's whether you like that or not. But if you're a purist and you want a pure sound like the virtual analog system gives you, then you won't be able to get that from the loop player. That's the only negative side of that. But it's not too bad either. So, but I'm just being honest. So, you know, it's perfectly usable. And inside a track, you would never know the difference. It's just, you know, it is what it is, right? So, you know. So yes. Right, next question. Put a fade in and fade out feature to fade out the moon in the XY pad available, along with customizable color schemes. I would love to this synth in black and white. In black and white? Okay, interesting. Just turn off your color of your monitor. Simple as that, really. So, you know, just that's it. Just turn the color down. Done, right? Reskin all day long. So, yeah, you know, you know, it is what it is. Next version of vector graphics. So, Pete, when I tried to demo, only synthesizer was downloaded. Once the synthesizer was open, the sample presets would download it, etc. I hope it helps. Oh, okay. Yeah, some people, just a disclaimer about this actually. I mean, in the early days of Horizon release, our first release with Traction, we had a few issues with people not being able to download the sample library. It was only a small, minor amount of people, but we did have issues, and the issues was that Windows creates by default your username downloads folder, but some people modify that, and so therefore the downloader didn't work. Since then, we've had a look at the code and we fixed that, so it now works on multiple systems, you know, so far. But of course, like with any product, you can't ever be perfect. There's always going to be some hinges and hiccups, but we're always there to help, and there's mostly a workaround with everything. It's just getting through to support. It's not a problem. So just thought I'd put that out there, just real quick. So yes, the XY pad, it is it can be free running, yes, or retrigging, absolutely yes. It's on the front right here, so you got a retrig, and also you can play it at different speeds. So if you want to, you can speed it up as well. So, oh, I'm not on that format now. I was there earlier on, but yeah, you can essentially, like, let me just record this real quick. So if I record this like this, right, and play it back, it will just play back exactly what I've just done. But now you can obviously do it double time or half time, and you can play it forwards, and you can also play it ping pong. So it will go whoosh and then whoosh again, you know. So you know, and that's it essentially. So there's lots of like cool things to do at that point if you want to or not. So yeah, so lots of fun there to be had. So right, that's obviously what we're doing for today. So I'm here now to answer anyone's questions, and then we'll talk about the competition and how you can win stuff. So Pure Salvation, I'm going to say not yet, but you soon will be able to in an upcoming update. I actually beat Lyndon at an answer. How about that? Let's see. So, come on, Lyndon, work faster. You need to get your fingers working faster. Come on. You know, we let you out the box for one day. Unbarred, yes, there is. There's not only more patches, but there are expansions coming. So we have some weird and wonderful things that we're currently working on. So, you know, you'll get an insight of that soon. So, you know, it is what it is. Just so you know as well, is I'm a very animated person. And so between myself and Lyndon and our dev team, we're very open to, you know, showing people things. We don't want to hide behind a rock because we're not a big corporate company and we never want to be. We're simply two musicians who are making a great plugin for other musicians to really enjoy. And so you'll see me when we get to that stage. I'll be live streaming, creating the presets that will be part of expansions. So I don't have any issues doing that. And I've done it before with great effect because people can come along and hang out and enjoy it. And, you know, it's a good thing. We like to keep you guys involved when we can, you know, so we don't want to close doors. At the end of the day, is Horizon for us is a platform, and we want you all to enjoy it equally. And so, you know, just that's the way it works. So, you know. I'm not. No, you know what I mean by anime. I'm not going to sit here and do all this. What I mean is I'm always doing something like with Horizon of some kind. You know, dear me. You know, is what it is. Don't take me literal. No, we're not open source at all, Pure Salvation. It's just we're open-minded. Let's put it that way. You know, we don't like to hide behind a rock. You know, I'll be here all day, every day if I could be, showing everybody Horizon all day long. That's what I'm talking about, you know. We're not open source, though. Yes, what Lyndon says. So, in other words, if you could come to the party and we can put our feet up while you do all the work for free, that's awesome. Dear me. That's not happening, but if it could, it would be great. You know, but yeah, right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the competition. Now, last week we did it slightly different. So, what we're going to do this week is, last week we had 2 winners. Sorry, we had 4 winners last week. we gave away an Horizon plus lots of vouchers for the Traction store. And so this week we're going to give a lucky person their own copy of Horizon. And so you guys fed us with lots of lovely comments last time, and I want to do something similar today. So now what we are offering today is we're offering an Horizon for somebody, and we're also offering a £100 cash voucher to use at traction.com to purchase whatever it is you'd like. That will be added to your account. So it's not an issue. Now, names are done at random, but in order to randomize the names is everyone will have to comment on the video. And of course, like and subscribe, you know, to do the whole YouTuber thing. So, you know, so it's not a problem. Yeah, no worries, Umbard. I mean, I'm hoping that you're really enjoying it. It's just something that, you know, we're being offered. But, you know, what I will say is if you already own Horizon, just mention that in the comments so that you're not, so I can then take you away from the copy of the Horizon, if you see what I mean. So for those that don't own Horizon, then let me know in the comments, and then I can, you know, you never know, you'll be a winner. So it's all good. Pete, I know that you've been struggling today, but I'm finishing the stream now. So if you want to send me that email, I can help you. So, because obviously as soon as we stop the stream, then this chat will close down. So, so send me a submission email if you haven't already, and I'll deal with it in the next 10 minutes. That's not an issue. Right, so everybody, after this video is finished, after this stream is finished, in the comments below, I want you to come up with your best name for an expansion. That's it. Just tell me. You don't have to say what expansion you want it to be. If you want, that's a bonus. Just think of a funny name or something to make me laugh, or something, you know, that's cool. Ambient, maybe some EDM, some punk, some whatever it is that you want to call it. Just drop it in the comments below, and I can take your name and enter you to into the name, and put your name in a hat, jiggle it around, and see who's the winner. I will notify you via YouTube itself, so come back to the stream within 24 hours. So this time tomorrow, I will announce the winners as I did last week. So you can't comment yet until I finish the stream, and then wait a couple of minutes, and then feel free to drop your comments down then. And so, yeah, so if you don't put your name down, obviously you can't win. But what I will say is, if you are already a Horizon owner, just make a little note to me and say you already own Horizon or whatever, and then you'll be in for the £100 voucher instead. So if you don't have the Horizon, shame on you, clearly, then then you get a chance to win both Horizon and the voucher. So, you know, let's hope that you know, we can get some more winners. So, you know, and it'll be absolutely awesome. So thank you very much for everybody who turned up today. It's been a lovely day again, and just remember, I want to try and do this every Wednesday. So if people want to just float along every Wednesday, then absolutely awesome. I'd love to see you here, and we can get to know one another, and I can help with anything you want. So, oh, actually, I'm going to change my mind based on something Pulse Salvation said earlier on, right? Can you please, instead of telling me a funny name for this expansion, let me know what you'd like to see me do next week, including create a patch, right, of whatever it is that you want. Even if it's of a famous song that you like or something like that, just let me know the name of the song or whatever. I can then go and listen to it off stream, and then I can then try and create it for you live on stream, and then give you the preset at the end. So, you know, so I can always do that. So, you know, you basically just let me know what you'd like me to do next week, or put down your favorite sound expansion name. Just whatever you want to say. You don't have to adhere to any of these rules, and just as long as you leave a comment so I get your name so I can put that in the competition, then everything is good. So, you know, yeah, so, but otherwise, really, really fun night. Thank you very much, guys, for showing up. Love to you all, and please just take care of yourselves and enjoy Horizon if you already have it. And good luck to the competition. So, you know, and I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a great one. Take good care, guys. Bye-bye.